Hi everyone, and thank you for joining here at my first garden. It is officially summer. It is really hot now and humid like Florida. Think of Florida, you think of what I'm feeling right now, hot and humid. It is starting to rain every afternoon, which is what I'm used to for summer. So here approaching May is sort of late. It should have already been raining consistently. So I'm really happy that that is here because we've had to use a lot of water for our front yard and our plant areas, but the rain is going to help with some relief on that. Additionally, we did add this rain barrel here. So that rain barrel is going to provide some nice relief on those days where it doesn't rain every day. So I am here behind a planter bed that we made. We had a ton of calendula here and blue bachelor's button. The blue bachelor's button were so tall they kept leaning over. I tried to stake them, but incorrectly apparently, and the calendulas weren't producing those big blooms anymore. They were more smaller side shoots. So I went ahead and cleared this. Since we are in summer, I wanted to go ahead and start our sunflowers. So last night I came out here, I made like a little trench with my finger, sprinkled some seeds, and then we're going to keep it watered and moist, and we'll prune them or pick them out to about 4 to 5 inches apart, or maybe 6, because this bed's only about 6 feet. So I want to try to get as many sunflowers as possible, taking into account that the closer that they grow, the smaller the blooms are going to be. But for here, I put sunflower queen lemon, which is like this. So these are varieties I grew last year and collected some seeds. So I'm also going to see if they grow back to their original, or maybe if they cross-pollinated. And the next is velvet queen. And then I also had an extra pack of zinnias. So these I also planted last year. They grew really well. They did take longer than this 35 days it's saying. So maybe they'll grow all together because the sunflowers are a 75-day bloom. So while we're here, I'm going to show you the Chinese asters and the carnations that I grew early January. These are, I want to say they're Stoke asters. I forget the exact name, but they have these beautiful pink petals and shoots on the side that are going to bloom the same, not as large, but the same sort of leaf petal structure. So a few of them are showing those stalks and the others are just green. We have a few buds coming in. And what I was actually doing with this is, while you see a few bare spots, is I was pulling them out and putting them as a ground cover in a smaller area over there by the purple chast. And it looks really cute, just being a nice ground cover. So that gave me the idea to sort of do this for next year. Pick a plant that I would like to see in the full garden space versus just in the planter bed. This would be a beautiful thing for our front yard as well. So now I know for next year, if I do these asters, the intention is to place them into the garden. So this will really just be a growing zone, not meant for cuts, because these are, yeah, definitely smaller than I could use for a cut vase. We're going to pan over to my dahlias. I have, I don't know how many varieties, but this is all dahlias. There's only one that hasn't popped up, and I'm still holding out hope because I have 3 other ones in containers that definitely took way longer to show any signs of life, but they are showing signs of life now, so I'm glad I didn't toss them out. A few of these are from Swan Island Dahlias, and other ones are from, I want to say, Eden Brothers, but those are border varieties, so not really intended to be cut flowers, but I accidentally mixed them up in the planting process, so they all ended up here. Or these ended up here. Now thinking of it, I do have a few other into the ground. So once these grow a little bit more, I'm going to pinch them off. This one I've already pinched. I think these smaller ones I have not. And this one larger one I did go ahead and pinch back a couple weeks ago, and it's showing the most signs of vigor. I think, yeah, these are just leaves. I don't see any buds just yet, but I did go ahead and stake this one as it's getting taller than the rest. But as I find more stakes, I'm going to place them along these because I know these are going to get at least 3 feet tall and really will need protection from that wind. In the back are iris, hibiscus, salvia, gladiolus, and a calla lily. They're doing really well because these are drought tolerant plants and they're currently getting protection from the rain because of our awnings. So now we're going to walk over to where we are going to work today. Basically is planting up these 3 dahlias that didn't fit in our planter bed over there. Let's see the varieties we have. Lights Out. This is going to be a black to red, 3.5 feet tall. Next is the one I really wanted to grow, so I was holding hope really for this one. It says it's going to be 6-inch tall blooms, 3.5 feet tall. It's called Bluetiful. So this was really the one that took the longest and seems to be the tiniest growing as well. But nonetheless, it's growing, which I'm really happy. And then this one's doing really well, tall enough that I already pinched it out. Did I pinch this one out? No, sorry. This one I have not pinched out yet, but it is doing really well. I am waiting for that 4th leaf set to grow out before I can pinch it. And this is Fuzzy Wuzzy. It's going to be pink 3-inch petals and maxing out probably at 4-inch tall with white tips, 4 feet tall. So this one from Swan Island, they said to pinch it at 4 leaf sets. So this would be 1 leaf set, this is 2, this is 3, and this here in the middle will be the 4th leaf set. Whenever that grows out, I can pinch from that point, and that'll encourage side shoots so that we get more blooms. So we'll get some shoots coming from where this leaf set meets the stalk. Next to that is this is a border variety dahlia, that's why it's shorter, but I went ahead and pinched it and it's showing offshoots already. So that one was actually scary because I already saw the bud forming, but every video that I saw said you definitely want to pinch to get more bloom. So even though you see a bud, once you're at that 4th set, go ahead and do yourself and your plant a favor and pinch it. So that's what I did. Okay, so this is one of the planters that I'm going to get all of the soil and all of the plants out because I'm starting to see aphids on here. I can see ant activity, so I know that that's aphids because they like the sap or so that the aphids produce, so the ants will actually protect them so they can keep eating that little sweet sap that they emit. So also, these are a second flush. These English daisies have already died back and reflushed because the first batch had powdery mildew, and I am starting to see powdery mildew on these as well. So I think with the powdery mildew bacteria and the aphid possible eggs in here, all of it has to go. Going to remove the plants, remove the soil, place it in our soil trash can here behind me, and refill it with nice clean soil. Either having the Lights Out or the Fuzzy Wuzzy dahlia going in here. I know like it's not the depth that I think the dahlias need, so I'm gonna just give it a try. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. I learned something new, but from what I've heard, dahlias need consistent watering, and the depth really does play a factor for the tubers to grow and the roots to reach out for that nutrients. But we're gonna give it a go anyways. Outside of this, I do have a tall black urn that will be perfect for the Bluetiful's dahlia because that's the one that I really want, that variety. It's got a blue sort of purple petals and I want to see those bloom. So I'm going to remove those prior to what's in there now, or what's in there now is 2 blue salvias, and I think they're going to regrow. So I've already cut them back, let them callus over. I'm going to clean the roots, place them somewhere in the garden, refill that urn with soil, and place the Bluetiful tubers in there. So let's get started with that. Okay, so I went ahead and went to our front area where all of the soil is. We have some extra from a delivery that we used as topsoil to seed our front grass. Video coming soon on that one. It's doing really well. So a lot of it was, as I mentioned before in previous videos, a lot of bark, so sort of more like a mulch or what you would place over your garden bed versus what you would grow soil wise. So I filled it up just for the space, and then going to use some regular soil mix to help with water retention. So hopefully the dahlias do well in here, because it does seem very free draining because of the large chunks. And what dahlias don't like is to be sitting in a lot of water. So what's really good about this planter also is it does have drainage holes. So those are two things that I'm hoping will help it, even though this isn't the depth that the dahlia tubers really would require. But we're going to go ahead and walk over to the table with the dahlias and choose a variety to go into here. So I have the pot here. Oh, it is heavy. So this, I think, is going to hold up the pot a lot better than the glass table. So we're just going to work over here. I have a stake also. This was like an old piece of palm that falls from like the tree behind us. So I am going to try to see if I can stake the dahlia as well, because they do get 3.5 to 4 feet tall. And you want to stake it before they get too grown and you forget where and what orientation you put the dahlia tubers, because you don't want to pierce it once it's already growing on. So that's what this is going to be for. I did bring a bag of soil mix in case that's needed as well. But this is actually pretty good in keeping moisture. They're still pretty wet in here, so I might not need it, but it's there if I do. So I'm going to go walk over to get the actual dahlia that's going to go in here. So this is the tallest so far that has grown. It's the Fuzzy Wuzzy. It looks like it's going to be 4 feet tall, and the lights out is going to be 3.5. So I'm going to go with lights out because it is going to be a little bit smaller. And then the Bluetiful is the one that I want to put in the black urn that we'll see here in a little bit. But let's go ahead and take this lights out and get it potted up. I remembered to bring gloves, so that's good. I have a really bad habit of not wearing gloves, and my nails really show it. So let's get these on. I could probably leave the stake in there, but let me grab a hand shovel. Handy dandy shovel, so I can scoop some of this just to the side. I will put that aside, take this out. So from root development, maybe not too much. I do see this a little bit on the side here, but what's the main thing that shows me that this is going to work well is that it has the green growth. So this should be definitely good to pot up. Oops, sort of cracking. Let me place that down. So I wanted to take some out, essentially the size of this, so that this potted up one can fit perfectly. Let's try to do it delicately. Okay, so this is pretty much good. So I went and grabbed some nutrients that are going to go in here as well. I cleared a hole about the size of this container. It's going to need to go a little bit deeper, so I am going to take some more out. Let's see. Maybe just throw it into the back garden here. And some blood meal was suggested when I was looking up what to put with tubers. So just a good handful is all I'm going to do. Mix it into the soil. I'm not sure exactly how much, but it says to spread 3 cups per pound or 100 square foot. Half a teaspoon or half a tablespoon per plant near drip line. So reapply every 2 to 3 months. So 2 handfuls is going to go really well because I'm going to spread it all around so the roots can reach it. Next is our plant tone, all famous, everyone uses it, all-purpose nutrients. see. What's really good about this also is that it has a Velcro seal, as opposed to like the bone meal just will be open and I need to place it in a separate Ziploc bag. So plant tone in, and these are Osmocote beads. I get them from a local nursery that we have, and they sell it per pound. It actually comes out a lot cheaper than the Osmocote bottles that you would get from like Home Depot or Lowe's. So good on them for helping little home gardeners out. So I'm just going to sprinkle those all around, and that'll be nutrients that gets released with temperature. So if I forget to fertilize weekly, I know there's at least some type of food or nutrients in here for the dahlia already. So we're going to scoop it out. I definitely disrupted all of the roots that this had, so here's to hoping that I did not just kill it by trying to plant it. Okay, so a little bit snug down in and centered also, because we want this to be able to look aesthetically pleasing. Nice and centered plants. Okay. Just trying to clean up the edges. This is the stake that we'll use. Once it gets tall, I can tie it around and near it. Maybe a little bit closer. That should be good. Okay, now we're in. Just tying it around it so that this can be its sturdy point. Looks good. Now we have our Swan Island Dahlia lights out. It's going to be a black-red for 3.5 feet height, all potted up. Now that we have pot 1 ready, I'm going to move it over to where I have my other dahlia, grab the tall black urn, do the exact same process, removing all of the soil and adding more of this mulch compost mix that we got delivered. Completely fill that and place the Bluetiful dahlia in there as well. I think this side works better. Now that that one's all watered in, let's go walk over to the urn. It's over here. See if it'll hold up in here. We're gonna wheelie it over to the trash can, get rid of all the soil. And we've made it. So this should be deep enough. I'm going to go ahead and grab some potting mix soil from our front fill this up, and then we'll walk over to our table to provide the amendments and place the plant over there. But yeah, by the way, this just happened while I was removing all that soil. Okay. So since this is already in a pot, or sorry, in this wheelie cart, I don't want to try to move it out and then back in. So I'm just gonna leave it in here. We're gonna add our handful of bone meal, some handfuls of plant tone, and then a few Osmocote beads. Mix it all up just to incorporate it into all levels. This is probably like a 2-foot deep planter. Let's just make a well and plant our beautiful tuber. Well, I guess a good thing with this palm that just fell, I get a new stake, because we have been using those as they fall, you know, just double use. Good for nature. Tuber. Let's go a little bit deeper. In the center again, and then let's just sprinkle some more around, and then we're going to backfill. So I will take the time sometime this week to cut this palm, get a few more stakes, and add it to this one. So right now I don't have any mulch or anything to go on top. I could always add more of this compost mix, but right now I think we are good. I'm going to water this in, place it over where we have our planters of other dahlias. It might not live there for the whole season. I planted these specifically for pots so that I could move them around. If we have a party or something, I'll move this one closer to the seating area, or if we're gonna watch TV outside or break out our pop-up pool, we can move this around and the other dahlia as well around. So that's my purpose of putting them in pots, is so they can be mobile and I can enjoy them wherever. So that's it for today's video. Thank you all for watching. I'm not sure what I have yet for my next video, but stay tuned. It's probably going to be the progression and showing the sunflowers and hopefully making beautiful summer bouquets. So thank you everyone for watching. I hope you have a good day.